Get ready to dive deep into one of the most gripping legal battles of our time. I'm your host, Jim Chapman, and today we're unraveling the high-stakes drama surrounding one of the music industry's most enigmatic figures, Sean Diddy Combs. In a case that has captivated millions, the courtroom has become a battleground for fame, fortune, and the dark secrets that lurk beneath the glittering surface of celebrity life. As the gavel comes down, we'll explore the allegations, the testimonies, and the shocking twists that could change the course of Diddy's legacy forever. Was this case merely a clash of lifestyles or something much more sinister? With each episode, I will bring you exclusive insights, analysis, and witness testimony accounts that will leave you on the edge of your seat. So buckle up as we embark on this thrilling ride through the trial of the century, where the stakes are high, the drama is real, and the truth is anything but certain. This is the trial of Sean Combs. Let's get started. So just a quick catch up on what occurred with yesterday's testimony, Wednesday, June 3rd. Brianna Bongallen, a friend of Diddy's former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, testified that there was a terrifying moment involving Sean Combs in September of 2016 when she was sleeping on the couch at Ventura's 17th floor apartment. When Diddy banged on the door, she went out to the balcony to smoke marijuana, and Diddy, who had gotten inside, quote, came behind me, lifted me up, had me on top of a rail, and held her there for 10 to 15 seconds. She went on to say that for a second, I thought I was going to fall, and she said Diddy was yelling at her, and she didn't know why. She also testified that while upset, Diddy once threw a knife in Ventura's direction, and she threw it back. Now, both of those throws missed. In another altercation, she said that Diddy allegedly told her something along the lines of, quote, I am the devil and I can kill you. She said that Diddy had taken cocaine at the time he made those comments. She was cross-examined yesterday, and Westmoreland tried to discredit her memory of the alleged dangling incident, and Bongallen answered, I don't remember, multiple times when challenged. Now, also yesterday, the government called Frank Piazza, who was a forensic video expert, to the stand, and he testified about the authenticity of the hotel security video, which showed Diddy attacking Ventura in March of 2016, and he also testified as to some cell phone videos that were related to the hotel video. And of course, that has been central to the prosecution's case. He testified none of that was altered. So we're picking up today. This is June 4th, Thursday's testimony, and it's going to be the continued cross of Brianna. And before the jury came in, the judge questioned the prosecution as to why Bongallen's alleged balcony incident is relevant to any of the charges that are listed against Sean Combs in the indictment. An assistant U.S. attorney, Christy Slavic, she said the incident with Bongallen and Cassie in her apartment shows the jury how Combs' violence extended beyond Ventura to other people close to her, which helps prove Combs' alleged coercion of Ventura. And that's exactly what I told you at the end of testimony yesterday. The judge seemed to agree with that, and the jury entered the courtroom. And defense attorney Nicole Westmoreland, she's continuing to handle that cross of Brianna, and she shows some text to the jury with photos of drugs that Bongallen sent to Cassie Ventura in the month after she and Combs threatened her at a photo shoot. This was in April of 2016. She testified the images she sent to Cassie appeared to be of drugs, but she said she isn't sure of what type. She also confirmed that her and Ventura continued their friendship as usual at that time. Westmoreland asked Bongallen if Cassie witnessed the moment Sean Combs allegedly dangled her over the balcony. Now, she said she heard Ventura's voice during the incident, but she said she couldn't speak for her. Westmoreland then suggested at that point that Bongallen had told investigators several times that Ventura actually saw the incident, to which Bongallen testified, "I spoke to them, but again, I don't recall." She testified that she continued to see Sean Combs occasionally after that balcony incident in late September of 2016, and Westmoreland asked her if she was afraid to be around Combs, and she said, quote, "I kept my distance." She confirmed that she went to one of Combs' concerts on October 4th of 2016, quote, "I don't think I was around him most of the time." However, she also confirmed she went to a club that Combs was renting out following that particular day in 2016, and Westmoreland asked her if she wore a neck brace to that private party. And she responded, "I probably should have, but I didn't." The defense then started questioning why she maintained contact with Ventura and Combs after that attack. And she responded, quote, "We were trying to be cool." According to text messages from October 9th to 2016 between Ventura and Bongallen, she agreed to sleep over at Ventura's apartment about 2 weeks after that balcony incident took place. Westmoreland asked her, quote, "Isn't it true that you continued to hang out with Mr. Combs and you continued to spend the night at Miss Ventura's house because Mr. Combs did not cause you those injuries?" And she replied, "Part of that statement is true and part of that statement I can't agree with." And then a text message was admitted into evidence where Diddy sent Bongallen a message saying that friends should, quote, "try to stop each other from making mistakes before they get high together." Westmoreland asked Bongallen if she believed Combs wanted her to stop using so many drugs with Cassie, and she responded, "I can't speak for him." Westmoreland suggested the balcony incident could not have happened when Brianna said it did because Combs was traveling to the East Coast to perform in the Bad Boy Family reunion tour, and Cassie was with him. She went on to say Combs performed in Newark, New Jersey on September 25th of 2016, and Combs and Ventura went to an event in New York City the following day, September 26th. Now, in her testimony, Bongallen linked the balcony altercation to a photo of a bruise on her leg that she said was taken hours after the incident. But according to metadata from Brianna's phone, the photo was taken on the morning of September 26th. Westmoreland also showed the jury records for Frank Black from the Trump Hotel in New York City, which included dining receipts for September 25th and 26th of 2016. And records from the Trump Hotel stay showed check-in date was September 24th of 2016 and checkout date was September 29th of 2016. And Westmoreland then said, quote, "You agree that one person can't be in two places at the same time, right?" And Bongallen responded, "In theory, yeah. And I can't answer that one." And y'all, that right there is a huge problem. Huge. It really makes this witness look not credible. I'm just saying. Westmoreland asked Bongallen to confirm that, quote, "Mr. Combs did not cause you the injuries that you showed us, that we saw on your phone with the metadata from September 26th of 2016. Brianna responded, "I can't agree with you." So in her final question, Westmoreland starts pressing further, and she said, quote, "You came in here and you lied to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury." And Brianna responded, "I can't agree with you." And with that, Westmoreland's cross-examination is over. And I got to be honest, score that one for the defense, as much as I hate to say it. Something about her story just doesn't seem right to me.
Jim, did you see what happened in Texas today?
Wait, before you tell me that, let me tell you what happened in New York.
It cannot be as crazy as the case I told you about yesterday in Louisiana.
You know what? We should do a podcast about it.
And with that, we did. Crime Wire Weekly covers the crime news headlines that have dominated the week.
We cover trending crimes from all over the country and even sprinkle in a few globally.
Crime Wire Weekly is available now wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Simply by searching Crime Wire Weekly or clicking the link in the description of this podcast. So she leaves the stand, and then a really shocking event. When the jury gets dismissed for lunch at the request of the judge, they leave the room, and he sternly warns the defense that Diddy could be excluded from the courtroom if he continues to attempt to interact with the jury. The judge said he saw Combs on 2 separate occasions during Breonna's testimony looking at the jury and nodding vigorously. Quote, "It's absolutely unacceptable." He then asked the defense, "Is it going to happen again?" They said no, and the judge went on to say it cannot happen again. And if it does, he said he'll let the government make an application to give the jury instruction on the issue and will consider more severe measures, including barring Combs from the courtroom. Pretty stern shit right there. You can't nod at the jury if you're on the defense and you're the defendant. So lunch occurs, and after lunch, the jury returns. And before the next witness is called, the U.S. Assistant Attorney Christy Slavic, she reviews a screenshot and a text message thread between Christina Coram and Cassie. Now, according to the metadata, the photo was taken on September 30th of 2016, and Ventura texted Coram, quote, "I just found out some crazy shit." Ventura then said, quote, "He came into my house while my friends were here and we were all sleeping, and they woke me up because he was ringing the bell crazy at 3 a.m. And when he came in, I went to my room and he went at Bona, choked her, and then dangled her feet off the balcony. This is crazy," unquote. And Ventura then said, quote, "I have to stay away." So obviously that was shown because of the damage of that prior witness and the question that the defense had for her, which was, did Cassie actually see it? Well, she says in this text she did. Now that's just a text, but there you have it. And with that, the prosecution called Enrique Santos. Now he's an analyst who performs forensic examinations of electronic devices to the stand, and they really asked him very little of anything of substance. He just testified that he pulled data from 3 cell phones that were obtained from Cassie. That was all they had, and the cross was pretty uneventful for this witness as well. It was also very short. He testified he extracted data from the 3 iPhones belonging to Cassie. He said investigators recovered several deleted records from those devices, and Santos also said that when the deleted records were recovered, certain messages lost contact names or they had strange characters inserted into names. He also confirmed that there were a lot of deleted messages on the 3 devices. He also confirmed that if a text message thread is captured in a screenshot, the capture date of the screenshot does not mean that's when the conversation actually took place. And with that, he was released from the stand, and here it goes, y'all. Get ready for this. Look, I hope nobody has kids listening to this, but if you're in a car and you got a kid in the back somewhere, it's time to make sure they don't hear this. It's about to get really graphic with the sex stuff when a witness testifying under the pseudonym Jane is called to the stand. Now, Jane testified she was in a relationship with Diddy from 2021 to 2024. And she was asked about pet names they call each other. This is primarily to relax a witness and kind of show the relationship vibe between 2 people. She said she called Combs Sean, Baby, Ernie, Snookums. She said they called each other Bart and Ernie, like the characters from Sesame Street. She said she first met Diddy on a girls' trip to Miami, Florida. This was in late 2020. She said at the time he was romantically involved with a friend who was also on that trip at a dinner hosted at his Miami home. She was then asked and confirmed that Combs did pay for that trip. She recalled the trip lasting about 5 days and seeing Combs on about 3 of them. She said the first night she met Combs, he was really hospitable and funny. Quote, he was really charming, really nice, and I was already drawn to him pretty instantly. She said the group started at Combs' Miami home and then went to a party on a yacht. She said, quote, there was a little bit of flirting going on in those early encounters. Later that night, Jane said a whole group of them, they went back to Combs' home and they used the pool. She said she went with Combs to his studio to get, quote, pink powder after one of the other girls asked for drugs. She recalled a man in the studio building giving Combs the pink powder. Jane asked them if the drug was safe, and she recalled they looked at her like, yeah, it's the best. Jane's group left Combs' house abruptly after that because her friend, who was seeing Combs at the time, she suspected there was something going on with Jane and Combs and apparently got pissed at her. Jane testified the next day Sean Combs hosted a pool party for them, and on their last day in Miami, they all watched a movie together. She said Combs was texting her during the movie and asking her if he could take her out. She testified that she told them they would be in touch. So she leaves Miami, and she said Combs texted her and called her. Quote, I remember he was flirtatious. He was inviting me to Miami. She said at first she was hesitant because her friend still had feelings for Combs. But after her friend got engaged, she felt she could consider the possibility of meeting with Combs and being with him. Now, the first Miami trip occurred in November of 2020. Jane then saw Sean Combs again in Miami in January of 2021, just a couple of months later. She had been planning to be in Miami for an event, and Combs offered to book her a hotel room. Jane said when Combs walked into her hotel room on the first night of her stay in Miami, he was larger than life with a big personality and charming. She said her first date with Combs started with dinner on her hotel balcony, and that night lasted for 5 days. During the first dinner, they spoke about the father of her child, a man who Jane said was someone Combs didn't get along with. They also discussed how Jane dated a close friend of Combs around 2015, and Combs said he didn't care about any of that. She recalled that first night being amazing, and they made, quote, lots of love. And they spent the next several days together getting to know each other. She said she was pretty head over heels after spending more time with Sean Combs in Miami in 2021. She and Combs went on another trip in February of that year. Quote, I told him that my birthday was coming up, and he was super excited and said we should go on an island getaway. She and Combs went to Turks and Caicos and then the Bahamas. She said his assistant, KK, was there, along with a chef, photographer, butler, and barber. They spent 15 days on that trip, she said, and of course KK is Christina Korm. Jane said she also remembers so many lovely things about the trip and that she and Combs spent a lot of one-on-one time together. She testified Diddy gave her a bracelet that said love on it while on a 2021 trip. She said that her and Combs took ecstasy around 10 times over a 9-day trip in Turks and Caicos, and went on to say she had previously used drugs only twice in her life. She recalled that the first time Combs gave her ecstasy, they were relaxing in the pool. He was holding out the drug to her, and he said, "Here, take this," and went on to say something like, "It'll be more fun." Shortly after taking the ecstasy for the first time, she said she fell into the sand on the beach and had a reaction. She said Combs, the butler, and Christina Korm tried to help her. She testified Combs offered her $10,000 at the end of the trip because she had been away from her work as an influencer for so long. She went on to say he wired her $10,000, which to her was a lot of money at the time, and we'll get into why he did that later. She said the ecstasy made her feel relaxed, euphoric, and sexual. Quote, it just enhanced touch and sense and made me feel even more loving and flirtatious with him. She testified she took ecstasy several more times during the trip and that Combs provided the drugs and determined her dosage every single time. After returning from the trip, Jane said she was even deeper in her feelings with Sean Combs. Quote, I want to say we even started using the L word. I was really deep in it. Jane said Combs made it clear to her that he liked her, but that he was seeing multiple women. Quote, I liked him, and so I was okay with that. She said she understood it was an open relationship, and she didn't get the sense that monogamy was an option, going on to say, quote, in my heart, I just wanted to see Sean, so I was monogamous. She said her relationship with Combs lasted until his arrest. She said the two were private about their relationship and that she might have only posted on social media one time about Sean Combs. Jane lived on the East Coast, but when they first met, she relocated to California. This was in June of 2021. She said Combs gave her money, including $6,000 for a moving truck, and he would periodically transfer her money just because, in her words. From February through May of 2021, she said that she'd see Combs every other week when he'd fly her in to see him in Miami. And Jane said that between February and May of 2021, she did drugs every time she saw Diddy. She said he offered them when they had sex, and they took ecstasy, Molly, cocaine, and ketamine. In that time frame, Jane said she learned a lot about how Combs preferred to have sex. Quote, I learned how he liked to have pornography playing. I learned how he preferred me to dress, and I just learned the things that he liked sexually. Jane said that he preferred her to wear provocative lingerie and really high stripper shoes, and to put baby oil on her body and his body. She said they would have sex in his bedroom at his home, lit with red lights, and they would have sex for, get this, 12 to 24 hours straight. She testified she loved the sex sessions during the period. Quote, I really loved my partner, and I was just making love with my partner the whole time, and lots of affection and kissing and lovemaking. And she said her relationship with Combs was very intense. Quote, it felt like Sean was really passionate, and he brought a lot of passion out of me too. And the way he would compliment me and be so into me and just really like enjoying one another. However, when the prosecution asked her about what happened between her and Sean Combs in May of 2021, Jane dropped her head and dabbed her eyes with the tissue. Jane said the two had been awake for many hours in his bedroom in Miami, and they were having sex and taking drugs. And Combs was asking Jane to fantasize about being with other men and asked if she'd want to do that. And she responded, okay, not thinking it would happen that night, just kind of playing into the fantasy. But Combs was quickly on his phone that night, telling her we can make that happen now. Jane said she was taken aback, but again said, okay. And asked by prosecutor Comey why she responded that way, Jane said, because my partner was excited and it was already happening. Within a few hours, they were in a hotel suite in Miami, and Combs' assistants were bustling around, setting up the room with red lights. After the assistants left, Combs told her to relax while they waited for a man to come. And Combs told her that he knew the guy and that the guy was really nice. Jane testified she was super nervous and still high from the drugs that she took earlier in the night with Combs. And Combs went to greet the man when he arrived and eventually called Jane to join them. Combs told her that the man's name was Don and he was from a service called Cowboys for Angels. And Jane described in court how she eventually had sex with Don while Combs watched. Don left after the two had sex. And after Don left, Jane said she and Combs had sex, and she recalled they were really happy. The next day, she went with Combs and his friends on a yacht. And she said initially she felt exhilarated by that night. Quote, I felt excited. I was happy. It was kind of taboo. It was fun. I had a good time with my partner. She testified that she thought it was something they would do just that one time, maybe do it again on another random occasion. Quote, I truly felt that night just opened up like a Pandora's box in the relationship. It just completely set the tone for our relationship moving forward. She said that night opened a door that she was unable to shut for the remainder of their relationship. Comey asked her why she wanted to shut that door, and she responded, there was so much of it after. It was too much of it. She said throughout the relationship with Sean Combs, she only wanted to have sex with him, not the other men. She estimated that about 90% of the time she had sex with Combs, it would involve another man. After that first time doing it in May of 2021. She said she went along with it initially because she really loved Combs and she wanted to make him happy. Quote, I feared losing him. I just wanted everything to be the way he wanted it to be. She said their times together typically would follow a pattern. The hotel room would be decorated with red lights, music, and bed sheets and blankets covering everything. She said the linens covered everything for the obsessive use of baby oil, in her words, saying they go through more than 24 bottles of baby oil in a hotel night. By late 2021, however, Jane said she was telling Combs she didn't want to have sex with other men, both in writing and verbally. But she went on to say it was mostly in writing. She testified saying there was tension when she broached that subject in person. Quote, whenever the topic came up, it would just start out really uncomfortable. I could just feel the tension was building and I would just kind of push it down, what I was going to say. She said Combs was dismissive, even called her crazy at times for talking about it. Other times he would say it was fine, they didn't have to do it anymore, but then she said we'd still do it. She went on to say Combs paid the rent for her home. And when she tried to tell him she didn't want to have sex with other men, Combs would say, quote, if you want to break up, that's fine. And then he'd go on to say, I'm not going to pay rent for a woman I'm not seeing. Jane testified she wasn't trying to break up in those conversations. She was just trying to stop having sex with other men. Quote, I felt frustrated, and she added that she felt obligated to perform those nights for him. When asked why she felt obligated to continue those encounters with Combs and other men, Jane said, quote, my feeling of obligation really started to stem from the fact that my partner was paying my rent. Keep that in mind. Jane also said it was unpredictable when she would see Sean Combs, and he would sometimes notify her the day of or the night before. She said she'd make sure she was always available to see Combs by arranging proper childcare, keeping her hair and nails done for him, and testified he preferred her to have straight hair and light-colored nails. Jane said Combs called the sexual encounters with other men debauchery or hotel nights. She stated that she and Combs had a hotel night, get ready for this shit, every single time she saw him between May of 2021 and October of 2023. And y'all, she already testified she saw him about every 2 weeks. So do the math. She said the two were on a break from October of 2023 through February of 2024. She said all of this extra, if you will, affected her ability to work and make an income. Quote, I would say that when I was with Sean, I was really consumed by him. I really just felt Sean was everything. She said she made some money through social media during that time, but her presence on social media declined after she prioritized their relationship. She said Combs would periodically give her money, typically in amounts ranging from $5,000 to $10,000 if it was cash, and he would wire her money if it was a larger amount. She said the most he ever gave her at one time was $20,000 that he wired to her when she told him she needed furniture for her home. Now, at one point, Jane proposed the idea to Sean Combs of starting an OnlyFans account to make money. She said her friend made $4 million in 1 year, and she thought she could be successful posting content like bikini, lingerie, or nude photos. She said she wasn't planning to post any sexual activity, but she said Combs was hesitant and told her to wait. And why do you think that is, y'all? It's what I've been telling you since the start of this shit. If these ladies make their own money, he loses control over them. Money is how he controls them. He's not being generous. He's exerting control. As long as he pays for your life, you're his. He owns you and he has all the control over you. You start making $4 million on OnlyFans, you're probably going to leave that goofy motherfucker at some point. She said the two broke up following a fight and then they got back together, which is when Combs suggested they agreed to a contract. Jane described it as a verbal, flirty type contract. Combs asked Jane how much allowance she would want per month, and they agreed to $10,000. Jane said she wanted to spend the allowance on a nice home, so Combs agreed to pay the rent instead of paying her the money directly. Quote, I just wanted to experience something that was nice just so I could feel some sort of balance in our relationship, unquote. And with that, court ended for the day. So we're going to pick up tomorrow as the prosecution continues their direct examination of Jane, and then the defense obviously will follow that. I'll bring you the update. Thank you so much for listening. Please share the show wherever you're listening. If you're enjoying the content, you know somebody maybe on your social media that is into this case and they're looking for something, share it with them. I would sure appreciate that. Thank you so much to our Patreon members. Please check out the Patreon if you're not currently a member. As little as $2.50 a week, and you get commercial-free bonus episodes. You get quarterly gifts if you're a top-tier patron member. You get files as we come across those. All kinds of benefits. Check it out. Patreon.com/exposed podcast files. And until next time, for Exposed Scandalous Files of the Elite, I'm your host, Jim Chapman. Much love.